So we're off and running. Do you want to start then? Thanks for doing this. Just by giving me your full name.
David Dillon.
But you wouldn't have been called David.
Devie.
Devie.
Yes.
And where does that come from, or why do you think?
That's an abbreviation of David.
Right. Were you called that by your parents?
I was, yeah. And by all my uncles and aunts, everybody was known as Devie Dillon.
Right. It's interesting, isn't it?
Yes, it is, yeah.
Okay. So do you want to start off by just covering the family tree? You're the main man, as we said on it. So if you just want to tell us a bit about the family history tree.
Yeah, right. I started, I suppose, with my grandfather, David Dillon. He was from North Kerry, and he was a teacher. He married Johanna Nolan, and they had 5 sons. My father was the second son in that family. They were all teachers, all national teachers, except the last one, who was a secondary school teacher. When he married my grandmother, Johanna Nolan, she was known as a farmer's daughter at that time, but she too became a teacher. So there was teachers everywhere in the family at that end of it. My father was the second in the family, and he married my mother, who happened to be the second in her family of 5 as well, Bridget Joyce. She was a teacher, and he was a teacher, and while she had taught down some part of Waterford, just outside Waterford City, before coming back to Ballydesmond, and when he got a job, he got it in Ballydesmond, and that's how they met.
Yeah.
Married, and they had us.
Very good. Thanks. Okay. If you want to talk about the family tree.
Do I start with my own then?
No, we've done that bit. Just go back to start with the family tree as you were doing it.
I don't know where I started in it.
Okay, so you started with your grandparents, David, I think.
All right. My grandfather was David Dillon. He was from North Kerry, and he was a teacher. He married my grandmother, Johanna Nolan. She was also from close by, and she became a teacher after marriage. They had 5 children, 5 sons. The second was Patrick Michael, and he was my father.
Right.
My mother, Bridget Joyce, was second in her family also, and she too was a teacher. She taught, before coming to Ballydesmond, she taught in just outside Waterford City for some time, and then she got a job in Ballydesmond, where my father also got a job in a school called Fridagoig outside of the village, and that's how they met. In fact, as far as I can remember, he was lodging in the house in Ballydesmond, because the Joyces had a shop and restaurant and a lodging house. They also had a hackney car, and there were agents for the Cunard lines going to America and those things.
Yeah.
You know.
Very good. So on the Dillon side, on your father's side, you said all of your that side were teachers, which is interesting. And then beyond your grandfather, David Dillon, do you know much about?
His father also was David Dillon in some places and David Dillon in other places, but apparently the name is interchangeable in North Kerry, parts of Limerick as well. And even some people in the same family could have a John Dillon and a Michael Dillon, 2 brothers in one family through.
Interesting. And who did he marry?
He married Johanna Nolan.
David Dillon.
He married Margaret Hennessy.
Yeah. And do you know what he did then, your great grandparent?
He was described as an artisan, which they tell me in is something above a labourer or something, that he had some type of a trade, maybe a carpenter or something like that.
Okay, so that's basically, that brings us back then. I mean, just the timing of that then, when just to give people a sense of the dates, when your father was born and then when your grandparents was born. Do you have
my
those
father
dates?
was born in 1905.
Yeah.
And my mother was born in 1901.
Okay. And then David Dillon, your
My grandfather,
he was
born in
71.
1871, yeah.
Right, and then their parents married in
1858, something like
okay, yeah, all right, very good. So you also do you want to talk about your grandparents' brothers and their role in the in the RIC as well?
Oh yeah, my grandfather, William Joyce, he was in the RIC. He spent 30 years in the RIC. I feel he must have been stationed in Ballydesmond, known as King Williamstown at that time, when he met my grandmother. And he subsequently served down in Castletownshend and in Dunmanway. I've tried to locate the house that they lived in Dunmanway. It's across from the graveyard, I know, where Sam Maguire happens to be buried as well. But it's one of 3 houses there, and we couldn't pinpoint the house exactly.
Okay, and he William Joyce.
He married my grandmother, Julia Fitzpatrick.
Right.
And her parents were teachers as well. And her brother, John Peter, was also a teacher, and he was in fact principal of the school in Ballydesmond, where my mother also taught. And I went to school to him, and the year that I left the school, he retired.
Okay, so your mother was Bridget Joyce, and then we have Julia Fitzpatrick, and then her parents were Peter and Mary.
Peter and Mary, yes.
Okay.
Who were also teachers.
So there's a strong history of
teaching in the family.
Teaching.
Yeah, both sides, yeah.
Yeah, but then there's also the membership of the RIC on both sides.
Because there was a John Dillon who also joined the RIC. I don't know any more than that, but he'd be a brother of my grandfather's, and he was in the RIC, yeah.
Okay. So it's an interesting history in terms of both sides being both in the legal aspect of things, shall we say, law enforcement, and then on the teaching side. So it's interesting mix then that's carried through as well into the current family. Do you want to talk, because we have a picture of them, do you want to talk about the picture of the Joyces and basically your mother's family, immediate family, her siblings?
Yes. Do we have to get the picture?
If you want to get you the picture, yeah. I'll show up the picture in the video. So if you want to use that as reference, I'll show the picture in the video as you're talking through them.
Yeah. Well, my grandfather and grandmother were sitting in the centre of the picture. The centre back is the eldest of the family, Mary, known as May. She married a Fitzgerald, and she lived outside of Ballydesmond. They were farmers. My mother's in the back left, Bridget. Then we had Eddie on the right hand side. He used to drive the hackney car that my grandfather had. His brother Peter, who went to America, and sister Kitty Ellen.
And obviously
she also married a farmer, Jeremiah Healy, and lived not too far away from her sister May.
Very good. And do you want to talk a little bit about your father then, and your grandfather William Joyce ending up in Ballydesmond?
Yeah, well, as I said, he joined the RIC. I have a feeling that he could have been stationed in King Williamstown or Ballydesmond when he met my grandmother. But I know subsequently he was stationed in Castletownshend and in Dunmanway. When he retired, he had the rank of head constable. they would have come back to Ballydesmond and got a house in the village next door actually to my grandmother's place, Fitzpatrick's, and they had a shop there, grocery shop, and they had a restaurant and a lodging house and a hackney car.
So a lot of activity going on.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Did you want to talk a little bit then about your father's family and his brothers, just the names and things like that?
Yeah, the eldest of that family, of the 5 brothers, the eldest was, he was known as Brendan, but his real name was David Brendan Dillon. He was a teacher and he taught in Lixnaw, which is not too far away from Ballyconnolly, the home place. My father was next to Patrick Michael Dillon, of course he taught in Ballydesmond. John Vincent was next. He taught not too far away from the grandfather's school in Lizelton, and he married a farmer, and he lived in Kilmona, and he was a great man for fishing. Of course, some of his land that the River Field flowed through, so he had great fishing there himself. My father actually used to go up there after school and go fishing.
Okay.
There as well.
Because Bernie talked about going fishing as well when he was a kid.
I had no patience for fishing. I tried it in the local blasha, as we call it, and I got all tangled in bushes, and I said to hell with it, not for me.
Right. So you said something interesting as well. Sorry, did you cover all the Louis and
Ernest? I didn't know. Louis as well. Louis is, he was teaching in a school called Cool Art, which was near Vincent. They were all teaching close by to each other back there. My father was the furthest away, and Ernest, of course. Ernest taught in Dublin. He was the secondary school teacher, and he finished up teaching in Ballyshannon.
Okay. And you mentioned that there was a Nolan living with them as well.
There's an Ellen Nolan. She was known as Na. I'd say she was probably an aunt of my grandmother's.
She lived
because in later years, when my grandmother died, Johanna Nolan, she died in the 1940s. My uncle Louis had only got married a short time before that, and he moved into Ballyconnolly then with the grandfather because there was nobody else there. And Na moved out of there, and she went over with Brendan to Lixnaw to mind him.
Yeah.
He was married to another teacher over there, and that's about it.
It's interesting. And then did you want to just go back to your father and his where he taught and whatever you want to say about him?
Yeah, well, he taught in Filegoy School, which is a school about 2.5, 3 miles outside Ballydesmond, and when he retired he was principal there.
Okay. So, do you want to just talk then a little bit about the parents and what were your impressions of your mother and your father?
Well, my father never disciplined me. I can say that. He never hit me. Can't say the same about the mother.
Right. And how did you find him then? I mean, some of the others commented that your father was, not that he was disciplined, but he liked order in that, you know.
Oh, he liked peace and quiet, yes,
peace
and quiet, yeah. And he wanted the peace and quiet. Two things I remember about him. One, I was coming from school one day, and he was, he was going out walking with the dog, and the greyhound, he'd be home from school long before us, but John Peter, my mother's uncle, wouldn't leave us until 4 or half 4 in the evening. It was only when everybody was going home, he got busy with lessons and stuff, you know. But he thought I was smoking, and he warned me to go home and he'd deal with me when he'd come in. So I remember running home and blowing my breath at my mother and saying, "Can you smell cigarettes?" No. So when he came in, that saved me, you know. But another time, her room that she taught in was adjacent to the uncle's room, her uncle's room. And I was out in his classes at the time, and there was a door dividing with half glass, right? And she used to look out, of course, and if she caught me doing anything, she'd put up the finger and all this, and I, unfortunately, stuck my tongue out at her, you know.
Right.
She came out, caught me by the ear and gave me a hamlet in her own room.
Oh dear. What age were you then?
I'd be about 11, I suppose.
Right. And was that was in front of the whole class you were dragged out? Was it tough having your mother as a teacher in the class or in the school?
No, not really. No, that's the only incident now that I remember.
Right. Was she was quite disciplined, was she? Or fiery. But your father was teaching down the road. You didn't have him teaching you?
No.
Oh, okay. And do you think, being the eldest then, did you get, you know, the way they say the oldest child often gets the main discipline from the parents?
No, I didn't. No, I think the others got more discipline actually.
Right.
I didn't. No. No, definitely not.
Okay. What would you say your relationship with your parents was? I mean, other comments from the others was that, you know, it's different times. The parents, it's not like nowadays.
It was a disciplinary time, all right, yeah. But no, I'd say they got more of a hammering than I did. You know, that's the only thing that I remember.
Yeah.
Getting them. Then I'll tell you about the mother giving them a kick in the bum or whatever, you know. But that was all right.
Yeah. Okay.
And they used to say as well that you get hammered in school for something you did before you left the house.
Yeah. Which is tough. And how did you find that, having, you know, your parents as teachers, because they would have had a good standing in the community? Did that put any extra kind of sense of pressure or otherwise on you because of that?
I don't think so, no, really. I know I was a bit wild. I was probably the wildest of them. I got away with a lot, you know.
Right.
It was a big thing to be smoking. That time I was smoking when I was fierce young. And even the night Joan was born, myself and another fellow, Humphrey Kennedy, were at the back of Vaughan's Hall smoking. And there were so few cars at the time. When the nurse's car went up the road and parked, and Joan was there the next morning, like, we knew what was after happening.
Yeah.
You know. But,
so, I guess then, talking a bit about your brothers and sisters, what was the age difference then between you and the next?
Four between me and Sheila.
Right.
Then the rest of them were more or less 1 year after the other, but we had a brother John who died around 6 months, I think.
Yeah.
Something like that. He caught death, you know. But the others, they were fine. I don't remember Sheila getting involved in anything. That she was kind of quite maybe reading. Bernie and Pat used to have squabbles, all right. But otherwise, no. Then Joan and Brendan, of course, would debate till the cows come home about something, you know. But Joan was quite as well.
Yeah.
Brendan was quite, but he'd argue for help.
So you were saying, we were saying how your relationship, given the age difference, was a little different. I mean, you were abroad, or not abroad, you were away at school and things
That's
like
right,
that.
I left at 12 years of age, and from then on really I was gone out of Ballydesmond.
Yeah. So you would have come home then just during breaks, is it?
That's all, yeah.
Right.
I was in school up in Multifarm in Westmeath.
Right.
2 days travelling. But I used to stay with Ernest, my uncle, in Dublin.
Okay.
He was teaching there at the time.
That's why you went to that school?
No, my mother had a Franciscan, Father Fabian Joyce. And that's how we went to that school.
Yeah,
So I was the only one that went there though.
yeah, it's interesting that it was so far away that you were sent to that school.
Because it, you'd be overnight in Dublin, and the next day it was a bit of a journey down as well.
Yeah.
If I remember.
Was it
the same way coming back, you'd overnight in Dublin again on the way back and down.
And how
so
did
the trains were slow that time.
It was trains?
Yeah, trains.
Okay. So from Killarney probably up to...
Or Rathmore. Rathmore.
And did your parents, being teachers, I guess they would have had a strong sense of education being valued?
I don't remember that. I remember having to sit down and do my books. I have never had memory of that, funny enough.
Yeah,
no.
Interesting.
I don't know about the others, but I certainly have no memory of being made to sit down and do books.
Yeah, I actually didn't talk about that much with the others. I just assumed it, I guess.
I know the Dillons had to do through my father's family. They were made to sit down and do their books, and maybe because of that, they were easy enough afterwards, but no.
But Brendan also made a comment now just about the family and how the Dillons were not, just there was an air of, being not kind of cockiness or anything, but just a self-confidence about the Dillons. Would you agree with that, or did you notice any difference because you were the son of teachers?
No.
Did you feel any different, or think you were treated any differently or otherwise?
Well, I probably got away with a lot more than I would have if, but apart from that, I did a lot of divilment and got away with it.
Right.
I was kind of on my own, and the rest of them were too young to be along with me, because by the time I was 8, they were only 4, kind of thing, and 3, so I was on my own, and just because I was a teacher, so I probably got away with it,
Right. So what are your memories then of growing up in terms of just in particular, this for posterity's sake, the differences between back then and now? People talked about, electricity or the food or the cold or things like that. What would be your memories of growing up in Ballydesmond?
Well, I remember us getting the gas lights in the house. That was a big thing.
Yeah.
To be able to see cupboards that you couldn't see before, kind of thing. And while I was away in school, the rural electrification came on to the 40s.
The what, sorry?
Rural electrification.
Okay.
That's what it was called.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Because we had it in Multifarnham as well.
Okay.
That made a big change, alright, because you could have the houses were awful cold, and then they didn't put carpets down. They had this bloody linoleum stuff, and it was ice cold when you'd step out in the morning,
Yeah.
And any part of you that'd be over the clothes, your nose or whatever, it'd be frozen. But it was the same for everyone.
Exactly, yeah.
Same for everyone.
Yeah. Brendan, someone, I don't know, was it Brendan or again someone else talked about going to school in their bare feet. It was Patch, actually.
Oh yeah, the kids around used to, and we used to want to go in the bare feet, and we were left to do it, but to be, of course, that time there was very few roads that were tarred or anything. You'd break your toe off a bloody stone and a big bandage in it, but some guys were, we didn't realise it, but they hadn't the money for the shoes. But we didn't know that at the time.
Yeah.
And they were nearly going most of the year barefooted.
Yeah.
And of course, it's for washing their feet would be black. They'd never wash them.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it?
Isn't it?
And then, do you remember much about, what was your pastime or entertainment? Was it football? You mentioned fishing wasn't your thing, but...
No.
What
I
were you?
played a bit of football, alright. I played with Ron Tariff. They used to come and collect us and play games. We won the county final one year, but they had an illegal player and we lost it, of course. So I have no medal.
Oh dear.
Or anything like that. But in college, I was, in the last 2 years, I was in the senior and junior football and hurling teams.
Okay. Which college was this?
This multifamily.
Okay.
Franciscans, very nice, pleasant memories of it. You know, and boarding school, that was the worst of it, going away to school. You know,
From
going away
12
from
to
home,
17,
yes,
was it? Yeah.
yeah.
Too, that was sad, yeah. Leaving everyone else behind.
Oh yeah, it's a break from the family, and but there was no other school around the place. Joanna was lucky; she was able to go to the local schools.
Yeah. And did you have any other comments then, just about your brothers and sisters? You mentioned a couple there, but your memories of them, and or what they. Well, first start with that. Your memories of them.
Yeah, well, I'll start with Sheila, I suppose. I remember Sheila was very quiet and reserved. I have a feeling that I can just picture her with a book reading, and she wouldn't get involved in the hassle and the fights that would be going on. Your father, Bernie, was he how would I describe him now? He was very logical about anything he did. I remember one time, I don't know, something where we were saying, "'Tis a bargain, 'tis a bargain." It's only a bloody bargain, he says, if you want it. You know.
He still uses that phrase.
Yes, yes. So he was like that, punctual, and very particular about if he had a job to do and he was sharing it by Jay, he'd do his bit and you'd have to do your bit. And he wouldn't, I remember there's the foot in the turf. The sods would be out, the sods would be counted. And if there was 2 or 3 doing the job, then it was divided by 3 and mark it and you do it, and that's it. Patch, on the other hand, was laid back. He left things roll over. I think they used to be fighting at that time, the old beds, you know, that kind of sank down in the middle. Patch, I think, used to have to hold on for dear life to the end of the bed to keep him from rolling over onto Bentley's half. So you can imagine the disturbance kind of a sleep they had, but that was it. Then Brendan, of course, Brendan had debate. I remember one time we were having an argument about the Irish and compulsory Irish and the Dillon knows what, and he came down the next morning anyway, and he says, "By the way, Devie," he says, "just one more point about the Irish." And my mother had a fright. She hit the table and fled. "Shoot for the Irish."
Very good.
That finished that discussion.
The debate was over.
Oh yeah, it had gone on today before, maybe for a couple of hours.
And would you have been a big debater with Brendan, or would you have been others as well involved?
Oh, they'd be all involved. Yeah,
all right.
all involved.
And
what? Couldn't shut him up. Like say, he'd keep going. Yeah.
And what about Joan?
Joan was quiet as well, you know. Again, she didn't get involved. But I suppose the girls wouldn't be involved in tussling like fellas would, you know.
Yeah.
Or indeed even in the arguments, you know. They wouldn't get involved in it.
Yeah, sure, okay. I'm trying to think what else now, if you wanted to cover everything. I mean, it was interesting, I guess, you know, the fact that you joined the Guards, and so did Patch.
Yeah.
And Brendan went into teaching, so obviously...
He had the brains.
Well, there was some connection there with the family history that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it, in terms of how that worked out.
But I remember when I joined the FCA, and I used to be polishing the buttons and polishing the boots and all the rest of it. And my mother used to say to me, "You're just like my father." So.
Did you want to talk a bit just about your own? You talked a bit about being in the UK and being abroad.
Oh yeah, I stayed at home for a year after leaving. I wanted to join the army of the cadets, but sure, I suppose I hadn't a hope really, but I didn't get it. And then after that I went to England in, I think about 52, January 52.
Can I just, sorry, just tell us a bit about your own, I mean, as you were saying, from when you finished school?
Oh yeah, I finished in the Leaving in 1950. Then I had to wait a year because I was too young to apply for the cadets. In 51, I went for the interview for that, but I didn't get it. And it would be January 52, then I went to England. And I got a job there in the London Trustee Savings Bank. But of course I was under 21 years of age and pay was miserable. It actually doubled if you were 21 or over. So there was living from hand to mouth really.
Yeah.
And I applied for a job as a barman down in Camden Town. And of course the manager there was wondering where this fellow was leaving a bank and coming to as a barman. Anyway, I got the job, and I stayed at that for a while, and then I decided I'd apply for the bus conducting, which would better pay again, and I got that. I was a bus conductor, and I left in about October or November 1953 to come back to do the guards exam, and I did that in December 53, and I got caught at the depot in May 54.
Right. And where were you based?
My first station was Bagnallstown in Carlow, and I never heard of it. I did all my subjects through Irish in school. Many people didn't know what Bagnallstown was with the sky over it. So I went down there, and I got a temporary transfer out to a station called Ballon to do an agricultural tillage book. I came back from there and I was transferred to, funny enough now, in a station beside me in Loughlin Bridge, there was a David Dillon, and he was from North Kerry.
Wow.
As well, and we couldn't make any connection in relationships anyway, but that's beside the point. I was transferred to Dundrum in Dublin, and I was there about 6 weeks, and I was transferred to Cabinteely because there was a crowd of them after getting disciplined in Cabinteely, and they were putting young fellas in to replace them. And I arrived in Cabinteely, which said this evening, and the following morning I was going to the depot on the refresher. And I was the only one, and all the others had been in their original station. I was the only one that had gone through all the stations.
Right.
So when I came back out of that, I was there till about June 1956, and I was transferred into that farm. And then I went and they put me on the patrol car there after a while, and that was great because it covered a huge area from Stillorgan right across to the county boundary with Kildare.
Yeah.
Outside of, what's the name of that station? Ratcool.
Right.
And it was great. We had a great experience in that. But I was the observer on it, and they sent me in a driving course to so that I could drive the car as well. And when I finished the driving course, I came out and I was getting married then. I was 58.
Right.
And stayed there until 1960 when I was promoted. And they were looking for instructors. I did see when you got promoted, you'd be sent down the country to some bob station. The thing was to stay as long as you could in Dublin or around in a good station anyway. So I did the driving course and got married and came back, and I applied in for an instructor in the driving school, and I got that. So that stopped me going to, I think I was being transferred to Tulsk in County Roscommon. So that put a stop to that.
Yeah.
And then after about a year I didn't like this bloody driving school, it was all repetitions, mistakes that were being made by fellas, and you know.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't make a teacher anyway, that's for sure. I figured after that, and that was it, I suppose. Oh yeah, I tried to get out then, and I was sent on duty down to Punchestown races, and I met my chief superintendent, that was my chief in Bagnallstown, and he says, how are you getting on, and blah blah, and I told him, and but I said, I'm trying to get out. He said, will you come to my division? I said, I'd be delighted. He arranged for me, and I was transferred to the Judy Sergeant to Newbridge in Kildare.
Okay.
While I was there, I applied for the Public Service Vehicle Inspector thing, and I got that, and I was sent to Roscommon. I spent 2 years in Roscommon, and because I had Irish, I was transferred down here, and that's where I'm since.
So you're around the early 60s, you moved to Galway, is it?
64 we came to Galway, yeah.
Okay, and you've been here ever since?
Ever since, yeah.
Now, obviously everyone's moved away from Ballydesmond. You were abroad in the UK, and 4 of the others spent time in the UK. I know Bernie came back, or in the US.
Yeah.
Is there any reason why, I mean, would you have liked to have gone back to Ballydesmond or that area, or did you just not have do you miss not being back in Ballydesmond?
I don't. No, I don't, I suppose, because I went away so young. I didn't get as tied, you know. If you were there and you went to school there, secondary school there and everything, you'd have an awful lot of ties in the place.
Yeah.
But no, not really.
Okay. And would you have had any desire to go to the US like the others at any stage? No. But you did go to the UK. What kind of prompted you to do that?
Well, there was no jobs in Ireland at that time in the 50s. People were going to the UK.
It was just a dumb thing.
And we can be very thankful to them for that, because you know they gave us jobs and they didn't hassle you or anything about the IRA or anything like that.
Yeah.
They treat you as one of themselves.
Yeah.
I thought the British people were very fair, actually.
Yeah.
Very fair-minded, you know.
Very good. Okay.
And I think that if somebody else had done to them what we did, you know, we wouldn't be too happy with them.
Yeah. Okay. Did you have anything else you wanted to say, or that you thought about, you wanted to talk about? I mean, I could ask you a bit more about, I mean, you talked about the electricity and stuff like that, maybe transport or food or things like that.
Transport, the bike, I got a bike, a green rally bike, the year that I did the leaving. And a bicycle was like a motor car then, you know. Even before that I had bikes. At 10 years of age I cycled back to North Kerry, back to my uncle's. I used to go there on holidays to Kilmore.
How far was that?
Well, it's probably 40 miles.
At 10?
Yeah.
You wouldn't have had many cars in the road though back then.
No traffic at all, sure. No traffic. And I remember getting this green bike. It was a rally bike. It was an expensive bike. It had a stand and it had a dynamo on it, but it also had a battery backup so that when the bike wasn't moving, the light was still on. You know, it was like a motor car at the time. You could travel anywhere. Bicycle was a big thing, you know. The bicycle changed the whole country that time, because the dance halls, for example, there were 2 dance halls in Ballydesmond. One was Vaughan's and one was Hickey's. The big one was Vaughan's. They got all the big bands there. They had army dances until something like 12 o'clock at night. Then they had the extension, which went on until 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
And they had the all night, they called it, which went on until 4. And that's the night they had the big bands there. People would come from all over, and there was parking bikes. And there was a car park or a bike park there, and people paid whatever, a couple of pence for it.
Yeah.
The bike, and would put a ticket on the bike. And
all right.
that was it.
So they didn't use locks, but there was a little ticket system.
There was a duplicate ticket. You got your ticket and they touched the back body of the thing and stuck it on it.
Oh, very good. And what about food then? Do you remember anything in particular about food that kind of strikes you as being different? I mean, probably a lot simpler and plainer food, was it? To nowadays?
Yeah. Well, we had what was known as a servant girl, which was a terrible description of somebody, really, you know. And we had one there, her picture is there in one of the photos, Mary Shine. She was a terrific cook, you know. We had others that weren't great cooks, but she was a great cook, all right. Good memories of her. We had two at the time, a second one, to mind the younger family. I don't know if they remember this or not, they probably would. She was Mary Hartigan. Right. And of course, your father and Patch and them, one night we were all calling her Mary Fattigan. And eventually she went out, and of course the father and mother were down in the room by themselves reading the papers or whatever. She went out and she complained nasty. She was complaining and they're talking dirty. That was a major thing that had.
And what age would they have been?
The lads?
Yeah.
Actually, I thought they were only 5 or 6 or 7 years of age.
Very good. One other question I have you actually would be, how do you think the others would describe you?
Oh, geez, I don't know. I haven't.
What would they say about you? Well, what would you think are your key characteristics or traits?
Maybe that I'm grumpy or different.
But what role then would you have served in the family? I mean, in terms of jobs or otherwise, or when you were there?
I don't know really. I had more contact with the uncles and aunts than they ever had, I'd say. You know, because especially the Dillon side, I was the only grandchild there for years. You know, and I can remember getting 10 shilling notes and half crowns from them. You know, and that was big money.
Yeah.
At the time. And I wouldn't have a clue what they'd be thinking about me. I hope it's reasonably good. Passable anyway.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I want to tell you, you know this emotional thing that I can get there at times? That's a Dillon thing. Oh, the Dillons had. My father had it. Ernest had it. Louis had it. Vincent had it. Everyone had it. I don't know if any of the rest of the family have it or not, but tears of, as my mother used to say, your bladder is right near your eyes.
That's interesting. Okay. Was that something in school then as well, or just as you get older?
I don't know, I've only noticed it that I can be a bit emotional. I didn't talk about the mother that time and pulling me. Probably because of the show she made me, it was just get emotional talking about it.
Yeah. Interesting.
Because I didn't I didn't think that I was ever over disciplined or anything like that.
Right. Okay, yeah.
So are you going to tell me what they said about me?
We'll have to wait and see. Well, they were the main things I had. I don't know if there's anything else you had thought about that you wanted to cover. Be happy to. If there's any stories or otherwise, funny stories.
There was down the road from us, Kinney's shop, Ned Kinney, and the wife, Mariah Kinney, and the daughter, Mary. Now, Mary was right. We used to do a fair bit of shopping there, get cheese and stuff and used to sit down. But Mary was inside at the piano one day. She was a great piano player.
Right.
And I went in and I ding. The next thing
And what age were you? You were obviously young for then, right?
Yeah. She had me by the freaking throat. We stopped.
You didn't do that again, did you?
Oh, no. Ned had to be called in. He pulled it off me, but she was. But then Ned was in gas, and the people used to argue about him, but this fellow, Jimmy Murphy, he was in the pub down the village, and we were walking down behind Ned Kinney one day, and Ned had white, whether they were bleached or what, corduroy trousers, you know. And he offered me 6 pence to give Kinney chicken houses.
Very good.
I did it.
6 pence, yeah. Why not?
Jumped it over the hedge. But Christ, he came up to the house.
He wasn't happy.
The next day, he was still looking for me. Of course, I was gone. He did apple for me. He knew that the bio was after putting me up to it, you know. Well, said the Kinney. He used to draw stuff from Batmore railway station in a horse and cart. And he was down there one time. And he knocked in the station master's thing anyway. And he got no reply, so I went up to Hassett's bar and he had a pint or two. And he came down and he knocked again and no reply, so I went back up and he had another pint or two. And of course he came down well lit up the next day, and he had a whip, and with the crop of the whip he banged the door of the station master. And oh, said the station master, you nearly took the nose off me. I was here on 2 or 3 previous occasions and there was no effing nose to be taken, she says. Can you hear the gas line?
Yeah. Were you involved at all in the dogs? Looking after them or anything like that?
It was walk dogs, yeah. It was walk dogs and
your father's dogs, yeah?
One bitch called Hilarity. She was a great greyhound on it. I used to walk the dogs, yeah. But I hate dogs. I freaking terrified of dogs, you know.
And did that impact you, do you think, on it?
I don't know. I tell you what did, I think. Dogs used to get the fits, what they call the fits. They'd be frothing from the mouth and they'd be running around the house, you know. And I think it was the feeding that they were getting at the time. And I remember that, you know, you'd be grabbed from the yard and pulled in out of the way. And you'd be watching this dog flying around and probably something like that, you know.
Yeah.
Subconsciously it's...
Yeah. But yeah, not a great job then, no.
No. I wouldn't run you the dog.
Alright. What jobs would you have had then around the house? Did you have? Yeah.
In Ballydesmond?
Yeah.
I had no jobs.
No jobs?
Well,
cleaning up or washing up or walking the dogs was a job, was it?
We had a servant for that. Right? I remember my father used to take a drink the odd time and he'd sit me down, you go with a gallon and you get 2 or 3 pints of Guinness in the gallon, whatever, coming up. There was one fellow there, he's dead now, God rest him. He turned out to be an alcoholic. He was maybe a few years older than me. And I sold him with the cover on the gallon, right? To take as much as he could out of it while I counted to 10. And I got maybe a shilling or something for it, you know. And then go to the pump and top it up.
Very good. Things you had to do, huh? Easy money. Very good. So, I think, yeah, that's about it.
That's good.
Yeah, thanks very much. I'll stop it there unless...
Oh, yeah, that's fine, yeah.
So?
Then he was going somewhere, and he must have been home from America because he had money anyway. And the mother said to him, you better leave your money at home. Could it be taken from you? he said that if I get out of here with the money, nobody will take it off. So yeah.
So he's good man for that then. Well, yeah, he's looked after the money all right. Do you want to tell me then about the town of Ballydesmond?
Yeah, well, the village had a cooper. He was known as Con the Cooper, but his real name was Linehan. There was one tailor, that was Ryan's. There were two blacksmiths, Kay the Smith, I don't know what his surname was, but he's known as the Smith, and Corcoran's. Three carpenters, Stevies, there were Sullivans, Arthur Cairns, and Bill Hickey. Bill Hickey had his carpentry shop inside in the day room of the house, where they had their breakfast, tea and everything else. It was all one. There were three shoemakers in it, two Keefs and Lucy's, and four pubs, Cairns's, Klondike's, Murphy's and Cooley's.
The population of one.
There was a population of about 160 to 180 in the village at the time. I remember being in school actually, you could hear the blacksmiths anvils going. You know, it was a lively little village at the time.
No video stores.
Technology has outgrown it, huh?
No video stores.
No.
No mobile shops. Mobile phone shops.
Well, there was a mobile shop that used to come down, but he'd be more for the country.
Very good. Okay. Thank you.
That's it.